I'm always surprised by the amount of content that is available for Stellaris, and I don't mean like what is possible within the video game. I'm kind of always surprised about the external content. Sure, we've got a book, we've got a mobile game that we won't talk about, but we also now have a board game. Yes, Stellaris Infinite Legacy, the board game, has been announced the other day, and it very swiftly blasted past its $1 million pledge amount on Kickstarter. It's actually insane to see how much money there is currently on this one. Yeah, $1.4 million has been pledged for this new game. Now, this is a board game. It's done by a third party called Academy Games. Basically, what happens... Paradox sends out the license to whatever company can do a game, and they'll do a board game. They're not really interested in doing a board game internally. We've seen this with games like the Crusader Kings, City Skylines, etc. So now we've got a Stellaris board game coming in our general direction. Infinite Legacy is actually looking rather interesting. It's established as a 4X board game based in the Stellaris universe, except with a little bit of a twist. And basically the idea is that you can play this in 2-hour sessions. So basically you play for 2 hours, you pack it up, and then you go away, and then later on you play again. So basically you can play a full set of games during this particular setup. And it has all the basic things that you would expect from a Stellaris game. You've got customizing your empire. A lot of the art that is in the game is directly lifted, so it seems, from the PC title, and of course on console as well as a lot of the technology illustrations here. But yeah, you have to expand your civilization. You have your game rules that are exactly the same. You'll be able to experience a 4X game in about 2 hours, and there's multiple stages within the games. For you need to explore, you need to expand, you need to exploit, and then there's the political stage as well. And the really curious thing is, and I've kind of already touched on this, is that if you are a player who has been playing for a while in this 2-hour game, but you don't want to play in the next session, or you want to abandon your empire and then build a new one, then your old empire is still within the game, except it becomes a fallen empire in that context, which is really cool. You know, the fallen empires within the PC game have never really been expanded upon and how they have been settled and stuff like that. And the idea from the community has been out there saying, okay, let us do new game pluses where our empires have turned into fallen empires, etc. And that's something that I always find really, really fun, and that's something that is being done here. So yeah, you stop playing an empire, your abandoned empire becomes a fallen empire. And on top of that, you've got your classic Stellaris mechanics, right? You've got your exploration, you've got your anomalies, and they've got multiple stages on them. The real problem is at the moment that we don't really have a good idea about the gameplay mechanics behind the actual game. There is a gameplay session being scheduled for broadcast on next Sunday, and I will do some highlight clipping from that just to illustrate properly on what is going on with the game itself. But for those of you who are interested in board games, then this may actually be rather interesting for you. So yeah, what else can you expect here? Well, there's some pledge levels for those of you that want to. Apparently, the cost of entry is $110, which is pretty crazy for a board game. $110, and if you want the expanded deluxe edition, it will cost you $170. Now, on top of that, there's a whole bunch of other things like the optionals, like a couple of minor models, like the Ancient Dreadnought is here. The Stellar Devourer is here. Apparently, they put a whole bunch of interesting stories around it. Apparently, the Dreadnought is now the Time Master, and the Stellar Devourer is now the Brood Mother. So I'm not entirely sure what they've done there, but it looks like they've taken their own spin on the franchise and the IP itself. So just to make sure that, Stellaris itself, as I always say, is a bit of a canvas, so you can kind of put your own spin on things. So it looks like they've modded the gameplay a little bit. But yeah, it comes with a whole bunch of player pieces and like a whole bunch of destroyers, battleship, cruisers, a whole bunch of other stuff, and overall it actually looks really complicated, and that's something that is rather interesting. I really do hope that it is going to be interesting to play and have fun with it, and being able to play it in 2-hour sessions is a pretty big deal for myself, because well, I don't want to spend like 8 hours on a game of Risk. Let's put it that way. But still, you know, there's all of this content here that is coming our way. There's a galactic setup with like planets and stuff like that. Resources are there. It looks like we got food, minerals, alloys are there. Energy. I don't see any of the strategic resources. That's interesting. But also, I see Unity and I see trade value there. Civilian ships are there. Event cards, anomaly cards. There's a whole bunch of stuff here. And I'm really curious on how all this is going to work out. They've already looked at an expansion to make the game being playable for up to 6 players. I don't think there's going to be a solo mode available for this one as well, so we'll have to see. But yeah, there's a Frontiers expansion, there is a normal base expansion, and a whole bunch of stretch goals, which is basically adding new technology at this point, but the developers have already said, look, we're looking at more stretch goals. A lot of these that we're doing right now are just stretch goals to kind of stopgap everything, because they did not expect that this Kickstarter would do as well as it has, because apparently originally they only wanted $50,000 and now they're at 1.4 million, so that's 41,000 euros that they wanted, and they've got 1.1 million right now, which is a not insignificant amount of money. So yeah, I think this is also one of the most popular Kickstarters that Academy Games have done to date. It's actually kind of excessive how much they've done so far. Let's take a quick look here at how many they've created so far. Yeah, Stellaris Infinite Legacy has been funded for 2,800% has been funded, and it's only gone up for 2 days. Apparently it was funded in 15 minutes. That is crazy. Whereas some of the other games, I think they were maxed out at 1,000% over the entire campaign. I think that was one small step. And yeah, it's absolutely insane to see that this campaign has exploded as it has, with all of these people that are interested in it. But yeah, if you're interested in this particular board game, if this is something for you, and you're thinking by yourself, you know what, I don't need to watch the gameplay for it when it comes out on Sunday, I will be doing a separate video on that. And you just want to pull the trigger because you've been gagging for Stellaris Boardgame for quite some time, feel free to use the link in the description below, because it will take you to the Kickstarter page, and if you put any pledges down, I will get a kickback from that one as well. So do please be aware that, yeah, I have been talking to the developers, and they were like, hey, if you want to try to get some people to here's a code for you if you want to get some affiliate bonuses. And that's fine by me. I was going to do a video on it anyway. Regardless, though, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. And if you're interested in it, feel free to head out. And if you watch all the way through, then make sure that you put down in the comments below board games WTF, because then I'll know that you've watched the whole video, and I think it will be our little secret there at the end. In the meantime, though, thank you so much for watching, and thank you to my patrons for making everything possible. More content's coming out in the near future. I've been away for a couple of weeks because of work-related reasons, but we're slowly but steadily spooling things up again, and there is a lot of cool content afoot with Nemesis in the very near future, and well, we will see where that goes. In the meantime, though, tomorrow we also have the Paradox Insider, so we'll see what's going to come out of that when it comes to Stellaris. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take good care of yourselves, and as always, be safe and stay healthy.